Hey, how you doing? This is Adam Post, publisher of more than 1,000 comic books and marketing expert covering the Bud Light controversy. Bud Light is going broke. It's not just that their sales are down about 24%, which is the highest level since the controversy started weeks ago. And that's 5 weeks in a row. And it's not just that the new normal seems to be dropping 20% per week, is what analysts are expecting, unless something drastic changes. It's their stock. Their stock is in really seriously bad shape. I was just doing a video about this last night where their market capitalization, the value of their company on the stock market, was $118 billion. That was $13 billion less than it was before the controversy on March 31st. Now it's $15 billion. This is just from overnight, $2 billion worse. It's $15 billion less than it was since the controversy, and it's not the lowest number that their stock has been within the last 52 weeks. Anybody that knows anything about stocks knows that you go and you look at the lowest price for the last 52 weeks, the highest price for the last 52 weeks. The lowest price on their market capitalization is around $89 billion. That was even as of October. So having their price level be at $116 billion where it is right now, that's still on the high side. And when that stock was low, there was no Bud Light controversy that not only was destroying what is a multi-billion-dollar brand for them. I don't know what they value the Bud Light brand as. It's absolutely worth billions and billions of dollars to them, or at least it was. I don't think it really has a legitimate value right now, and that's going to come up the next time the CEO talks to the stock analyst. But again, it's not just the black hole that is the Bud Light brand. It's also affecting all their other brands because people are boycotting everything from Anheuser-Busch now. Recently, Bud Light made a coupon offer where you could get $20 and in some places $15 off of a purchase of a 24-pack of Bud Light. They're practically giving this stuff away. Even that was getting torched on Twitter. And here's one of the worst parts of this. I did some more research. They've done promotions like this before where they give a $20 or a $15 rebate. Is it related to the Dylan Mulvaney controversy right now? Yes, it's related to the controversy right now. But they can't even give their beer away and get away with it. They used to be able to do this, and that would help support the prominence of the brand. It would help support people wanting to buy and actually buying the brand, but no longer. This is not a controversy that's going to be ending anytime soon. Let's get into this article that really explains why the controversy is not going away. This is from a former executive at Bud Light, a hell of a sharp guy, Anson Fredericks. And again, this is a different guy than Robert Lackey, who spent 20 years building Bud Light and Budweiser's reputation, only to have it completely destroyed by Dylan Mulvaney. In addition to his resume, because that was a very important part of his resume. Let's get into this article. Before we do, please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate you guys. We're almost at 10,000 subscribers, and thank you so much for supporting us. If you can, subscribe and hit that like button. The Bud Light controversy is not going away, and here's why. Bud Light will be trapped in falling sales with fleeing customers unless it makes one major move. Conventional wisdom holds that controversies blow over, news cycles cycle, and noisy protesters eventually quiet down. That's certainly what Anheuser-Busch is hoping and praying for amid the controversy surrounding its partnership with transgender activist Dylan Mulvaney. It's too early to have a full view, said Anheuser-Busch CEO Michelle DeCaris during the company's first quarter earnings call, but recently, quote, our full year EBITDA growth, which is cash flow essentially, outlook is unchanged. Yet 5 weeks into the debacle, sales of Bud Light continue to plummet. Its year-over-year sales are down. Now it's 24% from this time in 2022. All signs indicate that Bud Light's controversy is not going away, and why isn't it? Here's the reason. Social science may hold the key. For years, business school researchers have been studying why some consumer boycotts are successful while others fail. The results are telling and does not bode well for Anheuser-Busch. Perhaps intuitively, one key factor is whether consumers believe they have the power to impact the company's bottom line. If a boycott would be futile, there's no point. Bud Light's customers, however, are witnessing their success in real time, and that will not change. Here's why. While most companies report sales figures on a quarterly or annual basis, often on a significant delay, Bud Light sales are released every week, and there's not much Anheuser-Busch can do about it. There's nothing they can do. The sales figures are reported by a trade publication and industry source that studies the beer industry, based on surveys sent to liquor stores, convenience stores, and supermarkets. Anheuser-Busch cannot force the media storm to die down by starving it of data. So this is not data that's coming from Anheuser-Busch. This is coming from actual sales in actual stores, from scanning UPC codes. There's nothing Anheuser-Busch can do. They are not even in the process of reporting the sales. Then there's the cost of the boycott to would-be consumers. Research tells us that two key determinants of a boycott success are consumers' preference for the boycotted product and their access to its substitutes. When it's easy to switch to a competitor's product, boycotts are easier to sustain. Real-life examples bear this out. One of the most cited examples of a successful boycott is the 1995 Shell boycott, where consumers boycotted Shell gasoline over the company's plans to sink an oil platform into the Atlantic Ocean. A critical factor was that the boycott was virtually costless to consumers. Gas is gas, and the cost of filling up at a different station was very low to the consumer. Very easy to substitute. When switching is hard, by contrast, boycotts tend to fail. Take Disney's decision to wade in a political debate with Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. Some disgruntled customers called for boycotts, but Disney's 2022 revenues ultimately rose 22.7% over the previous year. What choice did Disney's customers really have? Are parents no longer going to take their kids to Disney World? Now, we also know the theme parks, cruises, things like this are a big part of Disney's business. They're very lucky that they have that, and the revenues have been very strong there, and they're making money there. There are other theme parks, but it's not like there are many other theme parks that families can go to. So they don't really think twice about like, oh, Disney woke, whatever. They'll still go to a theme park. I wouldn't do it, but other people are doing it. Where you do see an effect is where people don't like Disney's woke movies. They aren't boycotting them. They're just not interested in them. Disney's Guardian of the Galaxy 3 movie is the first movie they've done in years that's actually made money. It's done more than $500 million in the last 2 weeks, which is more than Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania did in its entire run. And it's because not of a boycott. It's just because people don't like woke movies, so they're just not choosing to take it. In this case of Bud Light, people are just not interested in being associated with what the company was trying to push. So they've walked away from it, and they're not coming back. Here's an example of people not coming back. The Chattanooga Riverbend Festival's Bud Light stage is now called the Ultra Stage. And this is a switch to Michelob Ultra, which is also owned by Anheuser-Busch, but it shows people are walking away from the Bud Light brand. And of course, all of Anheuser-Busch's brands are not doing well. Or take the calls to boycott the NFL after San Francisco 49ers quarterback Colin Kaepernick kneeled during the national anthem. Scores of offended fans flocked to Twitter to vow they'd never watch football again. But they did watch football. This year's Super Bowl was the most watched of all time. Bud Light is different. As beer goes, it's not particularly unique. Pour a Bud Light into an unmarked cup, and most people can't distinguish it from a Coors Light or a Miller Lite or a Pabst Blue Ribbon. Nor do consumers have strong preferences based on taste alone. In a sense, Bud Light's easygoing, generic, inoffensive appeal was the appeal. That appeal is now gone, but other brands have retained their inoffensive status. That's likely why, as Bud Light sales have fallen, Coors and Miller have enjoyed 20.5% and 21% sales boosts in the third week of April, respectively. It might be easy to drive to a different gas station, but it's really easy to reach for something else from 7-Eleven's beer fridge. Miller Lite is also in trouble now because of their recent woke Women of Beer commercial that was rediscovered a couple days ago. There's another reason why Bud Light sales have continued to fall, one that seems to elude most commentators. The Bud Light boycotts aren't driven exclusively or even primarily by radical extremists. Certainly, the most politically devout patrons are the most dissatisfied with Bud Light's recent brand strategy, and the noisiest. But for every Kid Rock shooting bullets into Bud Light cans on TikTok or gay bar loudly dumping the brand for not being LGBT friendly enough, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of Americans who just don't want their choice in beer to be political. Not pro-trans, not anti-trans, not any trans. Anheuser-Busch's CEO alluded to this in last week's earnings call. Quote, the beer itself should not be the focus of the debate, but it is, and that's all his fault. And that doesn't seem to be changing anytime soon. The Bud Light controversy is therefore more than the latest flashpoint in the culture wars. It is part of a larger cultural shift. In 2020 and 2021, much of corporate America saw advocating for social issues as an easy way to score points with customers. Boycotts were rare. Most people either supported socio-corporate political activism or were too afraid to say otherwise. Now the tide has turned. A poll conducted earlier this year shows that 68% of Americans think that companies that speak out on social issues do it as a marketing ploy. And a study out earlier this month shows that Americans are much more likely to distrust institutions they view as politicized, even when they take political positions that align with their views. In today's heated political environment, the surest course for companies, particularly those in high visibility competitive markets, is to focus on their brand and to stay out of the debates. Anheuser-Busch is no exception. To correct course, Anheuser-Busch must publicly commit to staying out of political issues moving forward. Anheuser-Busch may have had to learn this lesson the hard way, but for other companies, the lesson should be much easier to swallow. Anheuser-Busch could come out all day long and say, we're not going to be political. We promise to stay out of debates. People are just completely sick of it. They're tired of the woke stuff. They're tired of seeing it pushed in TV shows, in mass media, in movies, in products, in schools. They do not like the association, and Bud Light is paying the price for everyone else, including them, that pushed the woke agenda. People don't want the association. There are no apologies in the world that they could possibly give that would solve the problem. Let me know what you think of all this in the comments below. Did you realize sales are now plunging 24% a week for Bud Light sales? Do you realize this is kind of like the new thing that people are expecting? The sales are going to be at least 20% less than they used to be. Did you know that their stock price is looking so terrible that it'd be very easy to see them slip back to where they were just less than 52 weeks ago? And that would mean as much as another $30 billion lost in their stock value. The stock is only at $116 billion worth of value. They can't afford to lose $30 billion, but it could happen in a heartbeat. It's happened before this was even a controversy. Let me know what you think of all this in the comments below. Really appreciate your comments and really excited to have you with the channel. If you could, please do subscribe to the channel. We are almost at 10,000 subs, all thanks to you, and I really appreciate it. Click the bell for notifications, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again soon with another video. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.